So I got a tag video sent my way again, so this is going to be awesome. I like the topic, and it came directly from one of my good buddies over at the channel, Dedrick Hicks Jr. Shout out to you, D. If you guys haven't checked out his channel, make sure that you do so. Since day one in the fragrance game, me and him have been collabing back and forth. It's been a little bit, but glad to see you, D. Thank you very much for the topic. With that said, I'm going to leave this as an open tag before I get into what the theme is. And basically anybody on TikTok or YouTube who wants to follow along on this tag video, feel free. If you like the topic, just do the same thing I'm doing with your own spin, obviously, and then tag some more content creators that you want to see their picks. This one, usually there's like top 5, top 10. This one didn't have a number, but it's basically out of your favorite houses, favorite fragrance houses, if you only could pick one from each of those favorite fragrance houses, what would those fragrances be? And so I decided to just choose 6. So from 6 of my favorite fragrance houses, what would be the one fragrance I would choose if I had to get rid of the rest? And so that's what we're going to be talking about today. So without further ado, let's get it. What's good, my great smelling dudes? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Randy, aka Fragrance Dude, back at you with another tag video, again brought to you by Dedrick Hicks Jr. Thank you so much, D, for the tag. Again, open tag. If you guys want to check it out, make sure to subscribe, comment below, and then like the video on your way in or out. So again, the theme of the topic, or the topic of the video, is basically out of the favorite brands, out of my favorite brands, which to me, it was just which brands do I have the most of, or which ones am I really honing into right now. Out of those favorite fragrance brands, if I could only choose one from that house and I had to get rid of the rest, what would they be? And so I picked 6 different brands, and I chose one from each house. I've been really getting into indie lately, so there is a decent amount of indie on this list. But we're going to start out with a designer. Obviously, this has, since day one, has been my favorite designer brand. They did discontinue this fragrance, but it's still available out there. They brought it back with the same name, so you guys are probably knowing where I'm going with this. But my first one, YSL Y Le Parfum. Out of all designers, I have the most YSLs. I mean, they got the L'Homme, La Nuit de L'Homme, they got the YSL Y, they got the private blends. I could have easily went with Baby Cat or the EDT of the Y, L'Homme Ultime. I could have went with those, but this is easily my most complimented and probably my most worn fragrance, outside of maybe the EDT, I don't know. But they discontinued this earlier this year, brought out the 2025 version, which is a little bit less sweet on the tonka. It has a little bit more of this green tone. It's more spring. It's still a very good scent, but it's nowhere close to this one. This one is by far the best YSL in my opinion of all time. And to be honest, this is probably my favorite designer fragrance of all time. I'm going to go with that. Like, just out of all of the mainstream Macy's designers, I'm not talking about like Tom Ford's, yes, that's the designers, but out of all of them, this is probably my favorite. Just, I get the most wears out of it. It's one of my wife's favorites, but it's very, very, very nice. It has that opening of that YSL Y DNA. It's just slightly deeper, slightly darker, and then you get to the dry down, you get that kind of amber woody tonka mixture. It's a very, very beautiful fragrance. If you haven't tried this out and you're wanting to get your nose on it, I can tell you, you should buy it now before it becomes $400 and unable to be. So YSL Y Le Parfum, absolutely fantastic. Going into, I'm going to get the designers out of the way first. So this house is the one that I have the most fragrances of in my entire collection, which is 32. I thought it was 42, but it's 32. And that includes the scent line, the Boss Bottled line. I have one private blend, and then the Canteen fragrances, the Hugo Man line. But out of all of those, this is another discontinued fragrance that you can still find popping up on FragFlex and Fragrance Buy every once in a while. And it's on eBay like $115, $120. With that said, my favorite from the House of Hugo Boss is Boss Bottled Eau de Parfum Intense. The original Boss Bottled is that apple plum sandalwood cinnamon. It kind of smells like a fresh and creamy woody apple pie, but not like resinous or anything. And over the years, the original EDT lost its luster as far as the performance. They just kept diluting it and diluting it for some reason. So in 2015, 2016, they released this. It's an intense version of that and a little bit more rich and ambery. And it's just exactly what I expected it to be, and it's exactly what I wanted a flanker off the original Boss Bottle to be. And then they discontinued this like shortly after that, but this is where you get closer to that warm apple pie. It's still not a full apple pie. Like, there's no fragrances that really smell exactly like an apple pie, but this one, apple, cinnamon, sandalwood, absolutely beautiful. More ambery, a little bit more rich. It's just decadent, and it lasts 8 hours. So very, very nice fragrance. The next one, from the house that I have the second most amount of fragrances from, well, maybe YSL might be number 2, but this would be number 3. This one is also discontinued, but they are re-releasing a 25% version of the Parfum from what I'm understanding. And this will be no surprise to people. This is by the House of Zaharoff. This is Business Over Pleasure in collaboration with TLTG Reviews. This is and will always be my favorite. I have like 11 different fragrances from them. I actually just got off the horn with George Zaharoff because I'm going to have a poster in the background of my live streams of the Elixir of the World. So this one has always been my favorite. I got the full bottle, went through that whole thing, and they were like $400, but I found this one, which was 75% full, as you can see, not that long ago, and I bought it for well over $200. It kind of reminds me of like this Dior Homme Sport 2021. If you made it a little bit more higher quality, a little bit less effervescent, added in this kind of nice iris mixture, and then you had a little bit more of a brighter citrus on top. Get a little bit of a resinous, slight powdery, soapy tone underneath it, but this is one of the best all-season fragrances I've ever worn. It is probably the most, outside of maybe Coca Loco, this is probably the most wearable fragrance from all of the Zaharoff house, in my opinion, as far as my tastes are concerned. I absolutely love it. Business Over Pleasure. It is one of the closest fragrances to a 10 out of 10 for me. If you haven't tried it, whenever they come out with the Parfum, if they do come out with the Parfum in the early next year, keep your eye out. You're going to want to get that. Going into the next one. This is from this is from a niche house that I've been really, really big into lately. They had 3 releases this year, and 2 of them I would put in my top 10 fragrances of all time. This one is my favorite from the house, though. This is Day 3 Tres Oros. Tres Oros. I love my sweets. I like my gourmands. This is basically a pineapple ring, a little bit like smoked with this nice raw honey on top, and then a nice decadent cinnamon. And then you get the plantain underneath, which I didn't know what plantain smelled like until last week, which I've had this for a while, but until last week, I didn't know what plantain smelled like. And then finally now I do, and it's like underlying the fragrance just to give it a little bit of depth. This stuff is beautiful. Has a little bit of a light freshness to it, so you can wear it in that spring month, but it's a fall and winter fragrance. Finally started wearing this in the cool weather just recently. This stuff is absolutely beautiful. It is the best from the house in my opinion, and it is the best fragrance of 2025, hands down. Absolutely. And they have a midnight raspberry fragrance coming out soon, so keep an eye out for that one. This is my favorite indie brand, at least from what you would call indie brands. Every fragrance from the house besides Southern Comfort are my favorite. I love every single one of them, and they all do something different. I had a really hard time choosing between the two. I decided not to go with Outer Banks from Coastal Carolina Parfums. It is a kind of more masculine version of like Virgin Island water style. It has this ambergris, like a little bit more mature version of it, and it lasts way longer and projects louder. But I went with my favorite, which is Southern Peach Tea. This is exactly what you would think it is. It's Southern Peach Tea. It smells like a southern brewed peach iced tea that has natural, fresh, like Georgia peaches in it, a little bit of a florally kick undertone, a little bit of this kind of vanilla woody mixture underneath it, but it's a southern brewed peach tea that lasts 8 to 10 hours. It is a great fall fragrance that you can wear in the spring and the summer or winter as well. But I mean, if you like this note, this is the best. Like bitter peach, no, that comes off femme. Also comes off syrupy. This stuff is fantastic. Most people who have tried this didn't know what they would think going into it, loved it coming out of it. So that's me. Southern Peach Tea by Coastal Carolina Parfums. It lasts a long time too. It's absolutely phenomenal. So now heading into the last one on my list from one of my up and coming favorite brands. You guys know, if you've been watching my channel, I bought like 10 of these this year. It's from the house of Sense of Wood, and this is Plum and Cognac. I got praline and maple, sandalwood and oak, pine and acacia, pine in the sun, hinoki and hinoki. There's so many, and they're like, a lot of them are in wood scents or in bourbon or in vanilla. They're simplistic, but also like slightly artistic scents, but not like zoologist artistic or anything like that. So this one, it's not going to be for everybody. This is the 2024 batch, which is kind of like their vintage batch, and I absolutely love this stuff. It kind of reminds me almost like a spiced plum and black vanilla cordial. That's like what it comes off to me like, where the plum is there, it's simplistic, but it comes off like a cordial, that like a thicker liquor, but like not overly boozy. That's what like cordials are more like on the fruity end. The plum is definitely full force. The cognac is just it's so subsided in the fragrance that it's just underneath, providing a little bit of depth to the fragrance, but it's that plum, cinnamon. Some of my favorite notes are in here. As it starts to dry, you get more of that beautiful vanilla. It comes off like a vanilla bean. This stuff is rich, absolutely delectable. Lasts about 6 to 7 hours. Not overly crazy performance, but who gives a crap? Really nice, cool bottles. But I love the bottles. I like the simplicity of them, but also the quality. Very, very nice. If you're looking for something that, again, is dominated by plum, has a little bit of this kind of like cordially vibe coming from that cognac, like a wooden, like oak barrel booziness that has this like sweet tone underneath, and then a nice vanilla and cinnamon and a little bit of other spices. Plum and Cognac is going to be for you. I'm telling you, this stuff is a masterpiece, and the more that you own it, the more that you wear it, the better it gets. I'm telling you, it's phenomenal. I cannot wait until it gets to like 40 degrees and I can fully get wears out of that. But that is the tag video out of my favorite brands. And yes, I mean, there are other favorite brands. Like I could have chose Millesime Imperial from Creed. That would have been an easy pick. I could have picked I don't know what I would pick from Parfums de Marly. That would be a tough call. Probably Percival, which honestly, to a lot of people, that would be a weird pick. But to me, it's so easy to wear. I mean, if I had to choose one and I had to keep it, wouldn't it be the one that's like you can wear in any season? That's my opinion. But with that said, those are my 6. Let me know in the comments. I mean, if you're not a reviewer and you just want to let me know in the comments some of the ones that you would choose and what houses you would choose. I could probably make this video 5 times over and not get bored with it. So again, open tag. Thank you to D, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.